We got a bidet! Hey everybody, and welcome back for another video. In today's video, we got another Star Wars news segment. This is our third one here on the channel in this series of news episodes. We're very excited this time because we got Tony back with us. We will get Tony's thoughts on this past 2 weeks news because we do these bi-weekly every other week. And yeah, so let's just kind of roll into the news. The first one that we got is pretty big for the Kenobi show. As you guys all know, we are heading towards getting this show released on May 25th, which is the anniversary of the original film. And they released the synopsis of the show. There's actually like a page on Disney Plus where it has the show and it tells you, you know, this is coming on May 25. But we actually have a little piece here, and reading it, it says, during the reign of the Galactic Empire, former Jedi Master ObiWan Kenobi embarks on a crucial mission. Kenobi must confront allies turned enemies and face the wrath of the Empire. Now, with that being said, in there it says allies turned enemies. So that's plural, right?
Yes.
Because we know Vader's going to be in the show. Who else do you think he's going to have to, you know, mess with that used to be his ally? Do you think he's going to run into a live action clone where Tamara is going to be in there? Any thoughts?
Wouldn't that include like all his clone allies?
Yeah, so it could be any of his clone buddies. Just makes me wonder. I mean, Palpatine used to be a friend too at one point. I don't know if that's going to have any other indication that there's going to be some other people in there that he's going to have to face up against. We also, obviously, we got the Inquisitors that he's going to have to deal with. I'm really hoping for an epic battle between him and some Inquisitors.
What other allies did he have?
I don't know. I was thinking off the top of my head. But another part of the Kenobi stuff, Tony wasn't with us when we first started talking about Kenobi. And so let's just get Tony's thoughts in general about Kenobi. So what are you thinking?
All right. So here's what I thought about the trailer. I watched it once on my phone when it dropped. Then I, probably on the toilet, then I proceeded to, because I'm a teacher, I showed it to all my classes.
There you go.
Towards the end of class. And then when I got home, I set up my entire home theater system, surround sound, the LED lights on the back, whole nine, to watch 90 seconds of footage because I loved it that much. That trailer was incredible. It like hit all of the right notes, literally and figuratively, because Duel of the Fates. It hit all the right notes. It was like exactly what I wanted from this show. It seems a bit more, you know, darker, grittier, and I'm here for it. It was incredible. It was awesome, and I am so pumped for this show.
Same. I'm pretty excited. Like you said, that trailer was phenomenal. I remember when it dropped, I told Sarah, drop everything. This is not a drill. And we, you know, put it on our TV too, and just had to watch. I watched it probably at least 5 or 6 times since it's been released. I mean, even just for the music. Also, the part that sticks to me the most with the trailer, and I'm just like, man, I'm so glad that Ewan is back to be Kenobi, is like that first line he says in the trailer. You just feel Kenobi in that, like, his heart is at a loss of everything that happened. I am very curious to see who he's talking to when he says all that stuff. I know there's been a rumor of, hey, what if Liam is coming back to be Qui-Gon? But yeah, that trailer was really great. What did you think of the Inquisitors?
I before I watched the trailer, I didn't know that they were going to be in it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, because now I'm all, other than Resistance, I'm all caught up with the shows. And so when I saw them, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense why they would be there. I am excited to see them. I did hear that in early scripts, and maybe you talked about this on the last show, I don't know. In early scripts, the part that the Inquisitors are going to play was originally going to be Darth Maul. But then when the scripts got to, I think Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they were like, no, because he's something like he wasn't alive at that point or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. It wouldn't fit it chronologically. So they were like, no, we can't have him do it, or have him be in it. So they scratched him out and replaced him with the Inquisitors. So yeah, I was excited to see him, and it made all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah, so the Grand Inquisitor, I'm assuming that's who that character was that we saw. I was really hoping that the original guy was going to play him. I didn't even know the voice of the Inquisitor. I don't remember his name, and I should, just because he's so cool. But he's the guy that plays Lucius Malfoy in Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know he was the voice, and I thought to myself, if there's a live action, he would be perfect. And then it happened to line up that it was actually him. So I'm slightly disappointed that he's not in the show. But the other Inquisitor, I was shocked to see who was playing as well. I don't know if you're familiar with the Fast and Furious movies. Do you watch those? So Han, that is in there,
Yep.
he's is the fifth brother? The other Inquisitor, not the female, but the other person, that's him. I was shocked. I did not know.
Yeah, I didn't know that till after the fact either, and I was surprised.
Yeah. Any thoughts from Kenobi that are new thoughts that you heard about?
Not any new thoughts.
All right.
Oh, so the allies thing, I just thinking about it now. Commander Cody like betrayed Obi-Wan, right, in Revenge of the Sith.
Right. Yep.
I don't know.
All orders immediately.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe he runs into Cody again. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah.
But the synopsis seems like it's going to be like allies turned enemy within the show. So I don't.
Could be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different characters that you guys are talking about that I'm not overly familiar with. So that's why I'm kind of just taking it all in with you guys.
Cody was, so when Obi-Wan fought General Grievous, he was the clone commander on that planet. So as soon as he got the order, that he's the one that told him to fire the missile at.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that shot where he's just like, yeah.
That was before. I was going to say he's also the one that picked up Kenobi's lightsaber when he dropped it. But he handed it to him right before he got the order.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, very much looking forward to Kenobi. Another reason why I wonder if it's going to be a clone is because they're taking all their actors that they're using for these different shows, because it's been announced that Hayden's going to be in the Ahsoka show. Yep. So with Tamora being on board with Boba, I'm sure, hey, you want to make money for the rest of your life here at Lucasfilm? We got you covered, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or
there's also a history of, especially in Clone Wars, of not all clones being activated, having their inhibitor chips being activated right away, and having them had to try to like resist that. So who knows? Maybe there's some clones that Obi-Wan has kind of allied himself with, that either they're trying to fight the order, or it just hasn't activated yet, and then at like a crucial moment or something, their inhibitor chip actually kicks in, and that's another thought.
Yeah, interesting. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I know it's probably one of the most anticipated things for me right now, aside from Lego Star Wars, which we'll talk about a little bit here in a little bit. Moving along, one of the next big things that came out, I actually took part in the voting for this. I think it was about a year or two ago, maybe. So if you visit Disney World or Disneyland, they sell exclusive lightsabers there. They're called the Legacy lightsabers. And they actually put out a poll to see which one should come to the shop next. And there was a handful of lightsabers. I want to say Qui-Gon's, Anakin Skywalker's from episode 2 was in there. Kanan, Ezra, the lightsaber from Vader Immortal, which is a really cool one. It would have been really neat to see what they did with it, but we're not going to get it because the one that won was Cal Kestis. I did vote for Cal Kestis, and I saw, because they released yesterday, actually, the 25th at Disney World, and it looks great. The hilt, it looks damaged just like his in the video game. I actually heard the channel that we follow called Ordinary Adventures. Check them out. They're awesome. They go to Disney World and Disneyland all the time and talk about new merch. But they showed the ignition sound, which sounds exactly like the game. So kudos to Disney for doing that one right. There's a couple of them out there that don't. So thank goodness that they got it right. And you can also buy 2 of them and make Cal's double-sided lightsaber. So you can check that out as well. As far as I know, they are only purchasable at Disney at the moment. Sometimes, and it's very rare, they pop those up on their website at shopdisney.com. So maybe keep an eye out for that, but I want to say that's slim to none chances. And there was one other lightsaber that came out on their Star Cruiser hotel, the Halcyon. There is a exclusive lightsaber there where you can actually, you get a set of letters in Arabic, which is the Star Wars language, and you can put it on your lightsaber to customize it. I believe you can only put 1 on there, but those lightsabers,
1 letter?
Yeah, 1 letter right
Like-
on the lightsaber.
Like A?
Mm-hmm.
It seems kind of weird.
I've only seen people put 1 letter on there. But those lightsabers are going anywhere from $600 to over $1,000 on eBay. It's insane how much people are paying for those. Just wait till you go and pay the normal price, because I'm pretty sure those people are going to want to go.
What is the normal price? What do those go for there?
They go for about $150.
Oh, that's not awful.
After you spend the $5,000 or $6,000 to stay at the hotel for 2 nights.
Correct.
Right.
You do not get a blade with it though. The blade's an extra $50. So
Of course it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
To put it on a grand scale, because I don't know, Tony, if you buy many of the higher dollar lightsabers, but if you go and buy the ones that are in store like GameStop, Target, and whatnot, that are the Black Series from Hasbro, they run about $180 to $200. The elite ones that are coming out are upwards to $250 to $260. So, in my opinion, with Disney saying, hey, if you want to buy 1 blade that can fit any of our lightsabers and then just buy the hilts for even cheaper, I think that's well worth it to me. Especially since Disney has a better history of putting the correct sound chips in those lightsabers than Hasbro. Hasbro has been incredibly lazy. Yes, I'm calling you out, Hasbro, and putting in generic lightsaber sounds in their lightsabers. If it's going to be something iconic, put it in there correctly. It really bothers me as a Star Wars fan. If we're going to pay upwards of $200 for this item, make it right.
You have no idea the amount of research this man puts into lightsabers before buying them to see if the sound is right.
I do. I do. That's a lot of money.
It is.
I
Tony.
understand.
Have you ever thought about buying a lightsaber before? One of those expensive ones?
I mean, as far as buying lightsabers go, my knowledge is extended to You can get those at Disney World, or you can buy like the toy ones. I didn't know there's like anything in between. It would be sweet to have like a legit one, but you know, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. You can get, so there's ones that Hasbro makes, there's ones that Disney makes, there's also ones that aren't called Star Wars lightsabers, so to speak, that you can buy from third party. Some of them are really nice. That you definitely pay a pretty penny. You pay way more than Disney, but you can buy lightsabers that are actually meant for like hitting together really hard, like they're super durable, and they look phenomenal too. You can also get them with chips that change color. So, you know,
Nice.
weigh your options on those. If you do the experience at Disney World where you make your own lightsaber, we have our video up on the channel when we did that, both just showing you guys our lightsabers and the process. So if you're ever wondering what it looks like, we have that in there too. Those lightsabers, you can actually change color too. You swap out crystals. So that was a really cool thing that Disney made. Going along with Cal Kestis, because we just talked about how his lightsaber is now at Disney World for purchase. The Fallen Order 2 trailer rumors have been circling, most likely because EA Play was canceled this year. It is not happening, which is usually where EA talks about all their stuff. To me, the release date is obvious for the trailer, but it's been flooding the internet. Fallen Order 2 trailer is rumored to drop at Star Wars Celebration, you know, where everything's revealed for Star Wars.
Which is what day?
It's the weekend after Kenobi comes out. I know that. I don't know so 25th is a Wednesday. I think it starts Friday, so maybe the 27th.
Memorial Day weekend then.
Yeah. I would love to go to one of those one day, but it's expensive. Are you looking forward to Fallen Order 2?
Yeah, you know, I loved the first one. I was kind of late to the party on it because I'm really not a fan. I have nothing against it. It's just a personal thing. I'm really not a fan of the Dark Souls style of game. It's just not for me. So I was really hesitant to play it. And then I think it was you that I asked if it was like really like that super Dark Souls like, and you said not really. And you were correct. So I played it, and in structure it was similar to Dark Souls, but the difficulty was nowhere near what it is for Dark Souls. So I loved it. And you know, honestly, when I finished it, I didn't really and it's been a while. I can't remember exactly what the ending was, but I didn't remember thinking there would have been a sequel. It seemed like pretty complete ending. Maybe it was a cliffhanger ending. I just can't remember right now. But so when second one was announced, I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm here for it. Like I'll most likely play it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm very curious to see what happens too, because I mean, the ending, the only thing that I could really see from the ending that they can maybe branch off of is that Vader is aware that Cal is out there now. Spoiler alert if you haven't played the game yet, but Xbox did that for you in week 2. Way to go, Xbox. But there's also talks that because the game isn't necessarily called Fallen Order 2, it's called Star Wars Jedi, and then it'll have a new name. So it could still continue Cal's journey, or it could continue someone else's.
So it'd be like an anthology thing?
Could be, yeah. I'd be curious because they talked about in the show or the video game that the woman that was with Cal for quite a while, she was a Jedi at one point, and then she kind of shut it out. So I wonder if a game of her and her apprentice would be kind of a good one to see.
That'd be cool.
Especially to see, the downfall of her apprentice. But yeah, I'm very curious to see where it goes and what's going to happen. So we're just going to have to wait for Star Wars Celebration. We will be covering information from there, all three of us. We've been in the talks for that, and we're very excited to do that. Both, this or the Fallen Order stuff and whatever comes out for news. I'm pretty certain they'll probably show a handful of video games because there's a handful that have been announced, but really we didn't get anything to see. So hopefully we get a couple of those. And then also maybe a little bit of shows that are coming out because once again, Disney said all these things are coming, but we don't really know much about them. So we can look forward to that. Along the same lines of video games, we all know, if you've been following the channel, Lego Star Wars is coming out very, very soon. I believe it's a week from Tuesday, since this video has come out, of course. And we're having a handful of things coming out. We're having trailers, we're having behind the scenes and whatnot. But for video games, people get review copies. And there's been some discussions that are happening about the video game. And one of the big things is that if you are familiar with Lego games, they have a customization option where as you unlock characters, you can take bits and pieces of those characters and make your own character and use them in the world. And apparently that is not going to be in this game because there was a follow-up to it from Traveler Tales that they said, it's not in the game, but we do have over 300 playable characters, which is insane. 300 new characters in a brand new engine is going to be phenomenal. I
didn't know that even existed before.
Yeah, it's a very small thing. I'm not really into it personally. That's why you never see me do it. But
well, I mean, I've played Lego games before too, and I don't remember that ever being a thing. I thought you just picked whatever character from the character options.
No, so if you go to play in free play, which is when you replay missions without the actual story mode characters, if you look on the screen, there's a whole row of blank characters, and that's where your custom ones go.
I gotcha.
So, you can go in there. Sometimes they're super hard to find, where to actually make custom characters. I just finished Lego DC Villains not too long ago, and it was in a building somewhere, and I had no idea it was even there. I had to look it up. So, it's something, but that's probably something that was just left on the table as opposed to putting it into the game. They've already delayed it so many times, so had to cut something. They also, with the people that, review the games, have released the playable characters in Lego Star Wars. To save myself some of the, spoiler-free stuff, I didn't look at all of them, but I just kind of skimmed through, and there is a whole section that was almost a whole page of the screen that was Luke this, Luke that, Luke this, Luke that, and there's so many Luke Skywalkers in this game. Just counting, I know there's at least 15 different ones, which is crazy. The one thing that I did see on the list that I think is interesting because they're kind of pointing it out, they've been really, really pushing it lately, is they're calling the new emperor, and then in parentheses, clone, because not everybody knows that he's a clone. So it's pretty cool that they're actually putting that in there.
Would you say that Luke is one of the only characters that's in all 9 films? Is he in all 9 films?
No, he's not in episode 1 or 2. But
so he's in 7 of the films. Maybe?
Yes. Technically, he's a baby in the 3rd movie. But the rest of the films, yes, he's in.
R2-D2 and C-3PO are the only 2 characters that are in every movie.
Mm-hmm.
Even for just a second, Rogue One.
Right.
Hopefully they keep that going. I think that's kind of a cool little Easter egg.
I was just trying to think of who have we seen in the most amount of films, because you would expect them to have the most playable character versions.
Yeah.
With all the different outfits and what age they were in the movies and whatnot.
Another character that had quite a long list was Han Solo, and I can imagine Leia's going to have quite a few as well.
There better be a good amount of Ewoks.
I can't speak for that.
There better be more than just Wicket.
Although there'll definitely be more than just Wicked. I'd probably have at least the big ones like Tebow and um Lugray or Logray.
Logray.
Have you played a Lego Star Wars game before, Tony?
Yes, but it has been a long time. I think the last Lego Star Wars game I played would have been, I think it was the one that had episode 1 through 6.
Okay, so the complete saga.
Yeah, yep. That name rings a bell. So it was all the way back then. And really in general, I have absolutely nothing against them. I actually think they fill kind of a video game niche that's not really addressed otherwise. But I don't really play a ton of the Lego games. The last one that I played that I genuinely liked was actually Lego Lord of the Rings, because you could actually wander around all Middle Earth and stuff like that, and that was really cool. But otherwise, I don't really play them a ton. But yeah, I mean this new Lego Star Wars one looks pretty cool. So
Yeah, they've really I want to say Lord of the Rings was the first one that really branched out the open world, but I can't remember. But they've definitely stuck with the open worldness, is that the word for it? In everything since. So they've definitely added more and more stuff to their games. I think they're, at least the ones before this new Lego Star Wars, because I can't speak to how awesome it's going to be, how much it's going to be different to gamers such as yourself, where Lego really wasn't their thing. I don't know if it's going to change their minds, but at least before that game, I just kind of see Lego games as something I can sit down and just relax and feel accomplished, because it's nothing too crazy hard. And it just feels some relaxation. It's not like Dark Souls where I'm going to get really
it's probably that's probably the two ends of the spectrum. It's like Lego games and Dark Souls. That's like the two ends of the spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that this new Star Wars engine, brings some life to Lego games. I'm sure it's what they're going to start basing their new games off of, especially if it's a success. I really hope it is, because I heard, it took a lot of development to make this game, and I want it to be worth it for the company. And so we will be checking out the game on the channel. So make sure, if you want to see some of that stuff, to come right back here. We will have footage out ASAP when we can. I will say doing video game videos takes a lot of time to process with the video editing. So hopefully we'll have at least some out by Wednesday or Thursday, because it comes out on a Tuesday. We got some work to do.
We'll do our best.
So our next thing that I want to talk about is probably the most random thing that I've heard about Star Wars lately, and I have no idea where this is going, but maybe some speculation or any thoughts of what this could be, is that Christopher Lloyd is joining The Mandalorian Season 3. If that name doesn't jump out to you, Back to the Future, it's Doc. There's been plenty of memes going around lately after that was released, with the Mandalorian, where Mando would have like DeLorean wings and stuff. Any thoughts on what's going to happen here, or who he could even be?
When let me back up for a second. Of all of the actors and actresses in Hollywood today, his name would not have been the first one I would have thought of to be in a Star Wars project. But once I did see that he was joining The Mandalorian, after I kind of went, oh, I thought about it for a second, and then I was like, you know what? I think this is actually like a genius move, because the characters that he tends to play, especially Doc, I feel like fits the tone of especially the newer Star Wars projects perfectly. because he can obviously do the comedy stuff, but he can also do some dramatic stuff too. So I don't know if you've seen a movie that came out a couple years ago called Nobody.
Mm.
So it's this John Wick-esque action film, and I can't think of the lead actor's name. It's a Better Call Saul guy, but Christopher Lloyd's in that movie. What?
You said the Saw guy?
Better Call Saul.
Oh, Saul. Sorry.
Yeah. And Christopher Lloyd's in that movie, and he plays the main character's dad. And in that, you see his more dramatic and action movie chops. He gets some fights in there. And so between his work in Back to the Future, obviously, and that movie, and I'm sure he's been in a million other things, I was like, you know what? I actually think he's going to be an awesome fit in what current Star Wars is going for. What he's going to play, I have no idea. There's just not enough information yet to go off of. But I think he's actually going to be he's going to kill it. He's going to be the perfect fit into this world.
All right, I'm going to dream for a minute. Bear with me. Wouldn't it be awesome if he was Pelimoto's love interest? They're perfect for each other. They're both kind of thinking of his role in Back to the Future, at least, because that's the only thing I really know him from. They're both kind of kooky. They both know how to make things and work with their hands and tools and whatnot. She said she was single. She needs someone to go out with. Clearly, the Jawas weren't for her. I think it'd be really cool. I don't think that's what it's going to be, but I think it'd be awesome.
I think it's crazy, but it just might work. I think it's one of those scenarios.
Do you remember who Pelimoto is?
Me? She
She was the one that would fix Mando's ship all the time?
Yes. Yep. I'm looking up Christopher Lloyd's IMDb page right now. I gotta know what else he's been in.
I feel like the Mandalorian season 3 is still a big question mark. Like, we kind of know where he's heading. Like, if he's wanting to be Mandalorian again, he has to go to this destroyed cave place or whatever. But other than that, there's not a whole lot that we know. So
he's got to figure out what to do with Grogu now that he's stuck with him. Like, stuck in a good way, Like, all right, this is kind of changes things.
Yeah, they'll probably be buddies the rest of the way.
And he can't stick with that ship if he's going to keep being a bounty hunter. There's nowhere to hold anybody.
This is true.
So I'm scrolling through now, and I'm trying to see if any of his credits kind of jump out as like, oh yeah, that would lend itself really well to Star Wars.
I don't really know anything that he's been in besides Back to the Future, unfortunately.
Same.
Oh, he had a credit for Visions. I was wondering if that was Star Wars Visions, but it was not.
Dang.
He's been in Star Trek. So there's that. Back to the Future, obviously. Suburban Commando. Okay, why not? Addams Family is in the Addams Family.
Like the original?
It's Addams Family Values, 1993. There was one. He said he was in 12 Monkeys, which is like a sci-fi classic. Yeah, he has a lot of credits.
Nice. I'm
yeah
personally just excited to see him because I know I like seeing his kooky side personally. But,
I thought Pelimoto.
I think for me, he is Back to the Future. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see what he ends up doing, what John and Dave have in mind for him. Either way, I think it's going to be great. It'd be cool to see a different side to him and just see him nail it too. So
I'm gonna speculate this simply because this is like pretty much all we know about Mandalorian season 3. But so Mando is going to have to go on some like spirit quest type thing to reclaim his Mandalorian ship. And what if whoever Christopher Lloyd plays is kind of like his guide through that process?
Could be.
Yeah, I think that would be
Father.
cool. Yeah,
That'd be
you heard it
great.
here first.
Yeah, so we'll have to look forward to that. I think that comes out this year in December. Question
That
mark.
sounds right. I don't know for sure though.
They said 2022, but what they really meant was borderline 2023, because it'll probably be like the last couple weeks of December, just like Boba. But we'll look forward to that. We'll be covering the news that comes along. If we end up hearing what Christopher Lloyd is doing, maybe around Star Wars Celebration, you will hear it here. So make sure to stick around for that. The last little piece that I had for this new segment was there was a cover art reveal for one of the new Star Wars books coming out. That book is called Shadow of the Sith. And what this book is it takes place right before the sequel trilogy starts. And it's when Luke and Lando are searching out for the stuff to find Exegol. Kind of what they're talking about in Rise of Skywalker, like how the ship was there in that middle of the desert, and they said, oh, that was Luke and Lando's, and Lando mentioned they had done a couple of things but were unsuccessful. This is the book that's covering it, and they actually talked about something that's in the book, and I thought it was pretty interesting, and hopefully you guys will too. Apparently, when Luke is trying to figure out, what's going on, he does what he does in The Last Jedi, where he does like a mirage of himself and sends it off to Exegol so he can kind of look around. And he gets caught by some of the Sith spirits, and he's having an issue with trying to fend them off. And the Force ghost of Anakin Skywalker shows up, and they team up together to fend off these Sith spirits.
Who's the first guy you said that sends the spirit out?
Luke.
Oh, okay.
So it's like what he did with Kylo, but he's a spirit out in that area just trying to figure out whatever he needs, maybe figuring out what the dagger is and whatnot. But apparently there's going to be a part in there where he fights alongside his dad against a group of Sith spirits.
Wow. That sounds metal.
Yeah. I would like to see it on screen, but
yeah, that's probably something I'd rather see on screen rather than read, but that's just me.
I feel like reading through it, I would almost, granted, I don't read very much, but I feel like it would almost get confusing. Is this Force Ghost Luke or is this regular Luke?
Well, as long as you know the time frame, you should be able to tell. Because this is before even Force Awakens.
Well, no, that's not what I mean. You said he sends this like projection of himself.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
That was kind of like the weird thing that I thought about. I was like, when he was with Kylo, nothing really happened between him and the physical world. So I wonder if there's something, because they're both like Force entities to a point that are lashing out against each other. Maybe that is the reason why that Luke can fend them off. It makes sense for Anakin's Force ghost, but maybe we'll learn a little bit more about the projection that Luke can do, and hopefully, it's not the same reason that Rian Johnson gave us about the projection. I will say, I was disappointed in that. I don't know if you heard about that, Tony, but when Last Jedi came out and people were wondering about this Force projection thing with Luke, people were saying it's not a thing, and Rian Johnson said, well, here it is in Star Wars lore. And what Rian Johnson was pointing at was something that was no longer Star Wars canon. So it's kind of like, okay. But
awkward.
Yeah. So that's a book that I think I'm going to be interested in reading. I will be honest, it's sometimes hard for me to get into Star Wars books. It really depends.
Me too.
what it's covering because you don't read it very much?
Sorry, what?
I said, is that because you don't read it very much?
I don't know. I started reading the High Republic stuff. I tried reading the first book, and I think it was tough because I was just coming off of reading Dune, which is like a really dense, like there's a lot of philosophy and political theory and all that stuff in there. And Star Wars is not quite that. At least the book that I read, it was very like pulpy and stuff like that. So I was just kind of like, oh, this isn't really engaging me all that intellectually. So
Yeah, I would say for me, one of my difficulties with reading Star Wars is keeping track of all the different species when they bring it up, because they mention the species, but they don't describe what they look like necessarily, if that makes sense. So it kind of takes some background knowledge.
yeah, I had to do that a few times. I had to look up what the species were just to remind myself.
Right. And then I lose track, especially with some of the weird names that they got. I had started reading one book recently, but haven't picked it back up since. It was the Star Wars Bloodlines book where Leia has to deal with people knowing that she was the daughter of Vader after episode 6, and how people were going to determine her ability to be a politician, and does she have a background that she's trying to take out or carry out from her father's side of things. And it sounds interesting, but haven't really dove into it very much. Another reason why that it's a little hard for me to read the Star Wars books is sometimes they add some decent lore. Sometimes it's just a fun Star Wars story. And if I'm going to invest that much time, I want something that's going to add to, my knowledge of Star Wars. I don't want to just read it and be like, oh, yay, it was almost like fan fiction kind of a thing. Yeah, that's what I got for the book.
Maybe you'll do a
Sure.
book review if you read it.
Yeah, if I read it, if we get around to it. We'll see. It looks cool. It sounds cool. I know another book thing that I saw like literally today is that Barnes and Noble is having some exclusive Star Wars hardcovers come out, which would be really cool. Star Wars Legends books. One of them is The War of the Bounty Hunters, and one is The Tales of Obi-Wan. So those would be cool too. Check those out. The way that Barnes and Noble does their special editions is really, really neat. I recommend them. But otherwise, if there's nothing else to touch on this week for Star Wars,
I think that about wraps it up.
sound good, Tony?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was this week's version of the news. We cover things week or every other week. So look forward to hearing more Star Wars news in about 2 weeks from us. And the way you can make sure you are alerted by that is if you turn your notifications. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. That way you know when our videos come out as well. They pop up in your feed if we are subscribed. And then if you like this video, drop us a like, and also drop us a comment about any other Star Wars news you heard about or your reactions to the ones that we reported on this week. And then, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.